Socrates once stated that we should follow the argument wherever it leads.
Well, I wouldn't listen to what that guy said. Apparently, he also said something along the lines of, the only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing. And as we all know, smart people are the ones who already know everything about everything and can never be wrong because they read it in a book that said that it itself was always right.
When we look at the most profound question of life, does God exist?
That's not the most profound question of life. The most profound question of life is, how much whiskey can I get in my body before I explode, but is also enough that I can actually tolerate the endless sophistry of apologists like Kyle Butt here? And the answer, it turns out, is 7. I don't know exactly what medium that represents, but it's always 7. Go figure.
We should certainly follow his advice.
Well then, I suppose that means you're going to say, well shit, considering the staggering lack of any concrete evidence whatsoever for his existence, and the other things that could be called evidence also being better evidence for other explanations, the only conclusion that a rational person could possibly come to is that Sir Sick is the world's sexiest idiot. I mean that God not real, obviously. The other one is clearly self-evident.
When we do, we'll find evidences that show us God is real.
I'm sorry, but that is an absolutely hilariously stupid graphic. The evidence arises are just all randomly scattered in these specific places. And if we go there, we will find a big pile of rocks with a sign on top that says, I am real, love from God. And you know what? That's all the proof I would need. I mean, we all know that humans can't make things that say God is real and put them in places. That would be lying, and I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
Let's look at 6 proofs that show God exists.
6 proofs that God exists. Not exists, mind, but yeah, looking forward to it. And hopefully it's not actually 6 proofs that old mate here is a colossal fucking idiot and wouldn't know a proof if it came up to him and demonstrated reality all over his fucking face.
Number 1, the universe must have a cause.
Damn it, first one, and it's already into the realms of things he does not know, could not know, and has no way to demonstrate whether or not are true. The universe must have a cause? What does that even mean? The universe, in this case, what I'm defining as the everything that we can see, could see, and will ever be able to detect, could be a thing that always was. Because even with the Big Bang, it's possible that that's a thing that the universe does every so often, but that the universe itself is always there regardless. So no, it must have anything of the sort.
The most fundamental law of science is the law of cause and effect.
Well, not according to anyone else, it would seem, seeing as the first fundamental laws I could find in science that would relate directly to the start of the everything, aka chemistry and physics, have different fundamentals. Chemistry's being the law of conservation of mass, and physics, you have Newton's 3 laws of motion, none of which are the same thing as what you're saying here. So well done, you freaking failure.
And it says that for every material effect we see, there is a cause that came before it or was simultaneous to it, and that is greater than it.
Funny, because I tippy-typed that into me old search boys, and nothing scientific comes up at all. So, as a definitely real science thing that everyone agrees is science, it seems more like a definition that you made up. And that's unsurprising because it's not fucking true, and is worded in a way that is obviously designed to presuppose a god. But the whole greater than it thing, I can think of a shitload of causes that are significantly weaker than the effect that they have. I mean, explosions are often caused by tiny sparks. Grand societal changes, often caused by individuals. And one tiny little curry can have devastating effects on my neighbour's toilet while they're away on holiday.
The universe is a material effect. So what caused the universe?
That material word coming up again, and it's funny that he says material effect, but not material cause. Because in terms of things that we have observed, only material causes have caused material effects. So something immaterial does not get to just show up and be the thing that did anything until the day we actually observe that that has happened. Just getting that in there for when he inevitably tries to cheat.
You see, if you don't believe in a creator, then you have to suggest something like a singularity.
Actually, you'll find I don't have to suggest shit. I can do this magical incantation called I don't fucking know. See that? Amazing. I don't have to come up with anything. Just because you made something up, me not believing your made up garbage does in no way require me to make up something else to put in its place. That's not how anything works.
That's what is popular today, that there was some type of singularity that exploded in something called the Big Bang.
Not an explosion, please. If I achieve anything on this goddamn channel, could it be to get you morons to stop calling the Big Bang a goddamn explosion? And anyway, it's not popular in so much as that's what the evidence currently points to when you use what we understand about the universe and work backwards. The universe shrinks and at some point it all reaches a point. That's it. It's not something that people just pulled out of their assholes. In fact, if you like science as much as you pretend to, you should be fine with it anyway, because if God is real and did a universe, that's just part of how it started. That's it.
But then when you try to get down to the bottom of what's a singularity, well, what we hear from the scientific community that suggests to us, the cosmologists, they say, well, a singularity was something that popped into existence from nothing.
They do? Who said that exactly? Because as keeps happening for some reason, that's not something I can find anyone saying. You know, it's starting to seem like you keep making up versions of science and scientific explanations that simply do not exist. You know, it's like you are some kind of massive fucking liar or something strange like that. Do
you know that if there ever were a time when there was nothing, that's exactly what we would have now? The idea that something popped into existence from nothing is simply not a scientific idea.
Yeah, so that's why no one says that, you goddamn goofball. What they will say is they don't know where the singularity came from. You know, that thing I did earlier, because when they don't know, they don't know. Now, that's not to say there aren't hypotheses, but your presentation of science says everything came from nothing. It's frankly total horseshit, and you should perhaps stop.
You see, they're suggesting that that singularity is somehow natural, but it behaves supernaturally.
The only thing supernatural in this video is your ability to summon forth things people said out of the sheer bottomless pit that is your anus, as it bends time and space in order to allow you to say things that are completely untrue with an entirely straight face. It's fucking remarkable, really.
They say that that singularity wouldn't have followed the laws of nature. Well then, so what are we left with? We're left with the fact that the universe had a beginning and it was not a natural cause. It was something above nature. It was something super nature, something supernatural.
Well, there is something that you have clearly misunderstood there. The laws of nature are just the things we see within the universe. They are just what we know and currently understand. But something that currently doesn't happen in a way that we can study in our universe is Big Bangs. So we don't know how exactly they work yet. So we cannot apply our current understanding of nature to them per se. And they could very well function by doing things that are outside our current understanding of nature, which is not the same thing as something being supernatural, FYI.
And so when we see the material effect of the universe, we can know that there was a supernatural creator that caused the universe.
Even by your own dumbass standards that you just put in place, the insertion of a creator is utterly asinine. Supernatural does not mean things with thoughts and feelings and desires. It just means things outside of the laws of nature as they are currently understood. Creator is simply something that you have hammered in there without even attempting to justify it. Proof
number 2. Design demands a designer.
Well, calling the universe design is just begging the question, I think. I mean, to call it design is an attempt to presuppose the conclusion that it was designed at all. And frankly, I and many, many, many like me would argue that it absolutely didn't need to be designed at all, and is thus not in need of a designer of any description.
It is a truism that everybody recognizes that this universe looks designed.
Aw, hey, thanks. Look at you speaking for literally everyone on Earth. Just as an extremely smart and honest person should, you galactic fucking cretin. No, it isn't, and no, they don't. I certainly don't, mostly because while some of the things are amazing, as someone with an actual interest in how designed things are designed, the universe does not in fact look like that at all. It looks like a thing arranged by systems. The universe looks designed the same way a pile of sand does. That is to say, even if it's a particularly nice pile of sand, I'm not going to assume any intentionality to it whatsoever. Now stop speaking for everyone on Earth. It's fucking annoying.
In fact, when we see the various different aspects of nature, and we see birds and squirrels and trees, and we see all of the things that they do so well.
Now of course we have the argument from, ooh, look at the nice things. It's weird, however, that these lists never include the disgusting and the disturbing things of the world. The things that kill little children and make people's junk fall off and destroy homes and all the rest of the terrible things that happen. You know, because that kind of makes look how nice everything is fall to pieces immediately. So you have to ignore it, because as everyone knows, your argument only ever has to account for the things that support it, and the things that don't fit can just be swept under the rug and don't need to be explained at all, just like science always does.
Many times, we as humans, we try to copy and mimic that design, but often we don't do nearly as well as the design that we see in nature.
And sometimes they absolutely fucking destroy it. Tell me again the animal that flies into space, or the animal that can both live on the surface of the planet and explore its ocean's deepest depths and live to tell the tale. Hell, that one you showed there, let's say that design is copying that bird, but it sure as shit isn't going to be used for the same purpose, because what bird can travel 500 kilometers per hour, especially when on the ground? To say humans can't do anything as well as nature is a completely pointless point anyway, because nature isn't attempting to achieve anything specific. Things just fit into their niches, so copying them while doing something else wouldn't strictly be a good idea anyway.
We look at the design of the human body and the human hand and the arm and the leg and the brain, and we see that those are some of the most advanced, technologically savvy pieces of equipment ever put together, and we try to mimic them and copy them.
What are you fucking joking? And I love how, again, you have left out colossal design flaws and copy them only insofar as making things that isn't as good at the job as something else. Most robot hands that do their jobs well, they don't look like human hands. And computer brains are literally nothing like how human brains work. And everything else, this is all just getting dumber by the minute. Probably because a human brain came up with it and just wanted to debunk itself surreptitiously. Damn.
And we can't do it as well. Why? Because this universe exhibits design from the starry sky at night to the fingertips on your hand.
We can't design these things as well because they were designed.
I think even you have to realize what a poorly formed argument that is.
The design is overwhelming. It's everywhere. Where does design originate?
I don't know, probably Magic Man in the sky because he was bored and didn't know what else to do with infinity. Yeah, that makes sense, if you're like a really, really, really stupid person.
Well, what you and I both know is that when you see things that function and they're complex, that design comes from an intelligent designer.
No, I don't, but that's because I have some understanding of how systems work. Systems exist in nature and cause certain things, complex things, to happen all the time, without any need of any kind of designer. Hell, even if you were to argue that God put those systems in place, you still couldn't really say that he designed anything that came out of them. The same way someone who creates software that spits out things that function in the end, but have no input from the software creator along the way. That's not design, it's output, and it's simply not the same thing, especially if you don't know exactly what to expect at the end.
Big explosions just simply don't bring about order. They don't cause things that are functional and complex to come into existence.
Well, it's a fucking good job that no one says that they do. And if they did, how do you know that a big explosion within the center of everything couldn't do that? As your dumbass sort loves to say, were you there? Well then shut the fuck up and believe whatever I decide to tell you. Hey, if it's good enough for the Bible, it's good enough for things with actual evidence behind them.
The design we see in the universe demands a supernatural, intelligent designer.
It categorically doesn't, and you have in no way come even close to demonstrating that it does. Well done. 2 for 2 so far, and failure has been your one and only prize. 4 more. Let's see if any of these are actually coherent and not just extremely fucking stupid, eh?
Proof number 3. Life demands a supernatural life giver.
This really is the because I said so school of scientific explanation, isn't it? Because it really doesn't demand anything of the sort. The only explanations that are demanded are ones that actually cover all the evidence presented. And at no point has any been given that says someone we can't see, smell, hear, taste, or detect in any possible fashion did an everything and also did a people and the trees and all the other shit for some reason. And then of course you're going to say that you know the reason because someone a really long time ago wrote it in a book that they definitely weren't winging the whole way through.
You see, in the material world, we have come to understand that there is a law of biology called the law of biogenesis.
Should I even bother looking that up? Fuck it. If I look it up and it's another thing that he either made up or is just misdescribing, then I get to skip this proof and move on to the next. I'll let his explanation go on while I look for it.
Law of biogenesis simply says this, that in this material, natural world, life comes from previously existing life of its own kind.
Okay, so shockingly, it's actually something, but A, the of its own kind thing is not part of it. That's something you made up. And secondly, it only addresses how things currently happen and makes no attempt to explain where life comes from. So let's call it half made up so we can move along, because otherwise we will be here all fucking day.
Moral law demands a moral law giver.
No, it doesn't. Humans are the ones who came up with the idea of morals, so they are currently the only ones who have anything to do or say about it. And no, the fact that animals act in ways that one might call moral, aka they do things to help each other out sometimes, is not the same thing as them having morals. That's survival instincts more than anything else. You know, help others, ultimately help yourself. That's how humanity got too far. I mean, so far. And yeah, they came up with morals to explain that kind of behavior, not because it's an intrinsic fact of the universe.
If some things are objectively morally right and other things are objectively morally wrong, then there must be a God.
Well, objective morality is nonsense and something that you in no way can prove to be true. So God does not real. Next. Proof, please.
Proof number 5, free will exists.
Yeah, no, I do not believe in free will. So that's not really going to convince me of shit, my man. Well, free will in the way that you would couch it as like an absolute property that allows people to make choices independent of, well, reality, really. Yeah, that's bullshit. People make choices based on input and chemical reactions. Now, that's not to say that there isn't an emergent property that mimics free will so well that it's effectively the same thing as far as anyone can tell, but you know what it isn't? Magic.
The atheistic idea that there is no God is founded on the idea of materialism.
Oh shit, jumping in to debunk the idea that you have any idea what words mean. Atheism is founded on nothing besides the individual's belief in the claim that God exists. Materialism literally doesn't come into it. Now, some atheists are materialists, but some are spiritual, and some just haven't really thought about it. But that's why saying this is utter trite.
The idea that this material world is all that there is, all that there was, and all that there ever will be. Because of that, atheism has to suggest that you as a person don't really have free will.
No, it doesn't. Someone could be atheistic and believe in free will. In fact, one could be materialistic and believe in free will. They would just need to find a way to explain it that makes sense within a material world. In fact, there are plenty of folks who do exactly that. So again, look at you being wrong about everything you ever say. Anyway, moving on to the last hurrah. But listen to me, I want you to try really hard to not say something extremely stupid. Can you do that for me, please?
And proof number 6, human reasoning.
Ugh, yeah, I don't know what I was expecting. I think we can stop here because this entire video has already disproven human reasoning in its entirety to be a property for proving anything other than humans are just the worst at fucking everything, especially when what they're trying to do was not possible in the first place.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the